On today's podcast, we have strength and conditioning coach from 4D Health and Performance Sydney, studying for his Doctor of Physiotherapy at Macquarie University. He is a local hero touch football player, a co-founder of the amateur sporting competition, the Fellymics. Please welcome my good friend, Luke Esposito.
You want first place, come play with me. You want second place, go somewhere else.
It was better than later.
It was an everyday process.
Coffee's for closers only.
You're listening to the Morey Health Podcast.
Hey mate, how you going?
Rob Dog, I'm good, mate. How are you?
Good. Just coming off prac. Just another day in paradise.
Yeah. How you finding it?
I'm hanging in there. We're going all right. There's actually only a week left, and time's flown so far. I'm out at P360 out at Rouse Hill. They've got a sports physio performance sort of centre out there, and they're just showing me the ropes, and they're very kind enough for me to get my hands dirty and do a fair bit of the work there. I think for some of the physios there, they're quite happy to take a step back and go, oh, well, we'll just let him work today. So, but they've been really good. Yeah. And you've been out there as well.
Yeah, I did. I did my placement through the same company, P360, but at the other site out at Marsden Park. So very similar in the sense of how they're structured. Quite different facilities from what I understand. But yeah, no, I really enjoyed my time there. P360 actually, it was really good. Like you said, it's very hands-on as far as the students generally get to, they're pretty involved in treatment. So it's a good learning curve. For sure.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, so the one that I'm at now is more physio only based, while the one that you're out at Marsden, they have a bit of a combo between physio and EP, and there's a big emphasis on the EP side of things.
Yeah, big time. Yeah, it's a pretty good mix actually.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty interesting. So for those that don't know, Luke and I are both in the same year of our postgraduate studies over at Macquarie University, both studying to become doctors of physiotherapy. And so our backgrounds, I guess, somewhat similar, but at the same time, very diverse. So, Luke, can you talk a little bit about why physiotherapy and why Macquarie and how that came to be?
Yeah, mate, absolutely. It's a bit of a story. So I guess why physiotherapy? There's sort of my reasons for why physio has certainly grown over the years. It initially started as a teenager. I was loved playing rugby and rugby league, played both. And I was always injured, so I was always in at the physio. It's pretty common, this part of the story, I guess. Struck up a pretty good relationship with my physio at the time. And from there, I sort of, I guess had an interest in it. Enjoyed the communication aspect of it, being around people. Obviously had an element of physicality and sport involved in the job as well. So to be honest, like when I was leaving school, it was more of a case of I couldn't really think of anything more that I'd want to do than physio. It wasn't that I was totally passionate about it, if I'm being completely honest. But it was sort of a direction I just thought I'll head in for now and sort of see where I end up. But then over the years, that has certainly grown. It's sort of one of those things that I think sometimes people want to have a passion for something before they hit the go button and chase it. But for me, it's something that's definitely developed over like 10 years. I remember, actually, funny story. I remember when I was at school, I had a meeting with my, careers advisor that you have at school.
Yeah. Yep.
And she asked me what I wanted to do. And I said, physio sounds good. But I've never been the most academic person, like by far. So I sort of said, and I think it was 98 or so at the time to get into physio. And to be honest, that was just whether or not I was capable of that wasn't the issue. It was I probably wasn't going to put that much work in when I was a kid. Being completely honest. So she sort of said a good way I could do it was to go and do exercise and sports science. And then from there, all I needed to do was finish that degree and jump into a master's of physio. And I remember leaving and thinking, how easy does that sound? I'm going to be a physio. And, so I was like 17 at that time, and I'm 28 now, and I'm sort of still on my way, but it's been good. So it's been a well-rounded journey since then, to, I guess, arriving where I'm at now. And back to your original question, the reason why has developed in a sense of when I first, off the back of that story, when I first went and started my undergrad in exercise and sports science, I studied at ACU. It was awesome. I loved it. I loved it probably more so initially because of the social aspect. I'm really talking myself down here in this part of my life story, but I was like super social, and I probably didn't commit totally to the study side of things. And with that, I didn't do too well in, initially in that degree. So that sort of really put a big dent in my GPA, which at the time I didn't realize was going to, be the decisive factor in whether or not I'd become a physio. I think I always thought that because, I wanted to do it, it would just happen. I guess as a young 18-year-old, realised that if I wanted to do something that was really hard, that a lot of people don't get the opportunity to do, I was going to have to really dig my feet in and work hard. And at the time, I just didn't have the maturity behind me to realise that. So basically, off the back of that degree, I didn't get into physio. I applied to 2 different unis and didn't get in, which I don't even know why I bothered applying. There was no chance that I was going to even go near getting in. And so I ended up personal training. I got a job with a few of my best mates as a personal trainer. And it was just like, I had so much fun. It was unbelievable. It was really good, out of uni, working full time. And sort of, I guess, did an apprenticeship in learning to communicate with people, balance different personality styles, manage your own sort of, I guess, client base, all those sorts of things. And I absolutely love personal training, and I was pretty happy just to stick with that for a while. And then, life happens and a few things changed, and I sort of got to a stage where I was really loving personal training, and, I knew I wanted to keep doing something, I guess, in that space. But I felt like while I was young and, had grown a little bit, there was time for me to go back to uni, and I guess redeem myself a little bit for what I was like as an 18-year-old, and go back and really give it a good crack this time and try and get in. So, I guess I arrived at a point with personal training where I felt like I was hitting a ceiling with what I could offer people as far as helping them with their issues. Like, there was a lot of people that were losing weight and, those sorts of things, but they were getting injured and I didn't really understand what was happening. And for me, it was a case of, if I really want to help these people, I've got to push myself to learn more so that I can teach more, if that makes sense, to clients or to patients. It's like only, I guess, it's a bit of a cliche. You can only help someone as much as you help yourself. So I guess that was that. So yeah, and since then, I guess the passion for physio has just driven from there. The more I learn, the more I feel like I don't know half the time. So I just have to keep learning. So it's all, I guess, driven from a passion for, wanting to continue my knowledge so that I can offer more to help people, I guess.
No, that's awesome. That's awesome. And then, so I've got a few takeaways, but I'll come back to that in a minute.
Yep.
From getting that role and what you're doing as a PT,
mm-hmm.
Then you had to go back to uni to study a little bit more.
Yep.
What course was that, and where was that done? What was that about?
So I went, another funny little side note, I actually still didn't think I'd get into physio, right? So I applied for podiatry because I was like, I can sort of do like lower limb physio. That's sort of what I was thinking. And I'm not bashing podiatrists by any means here. I'm just saying that's what I was thinking about at the time. And then I was having a conversation one day with someone talking about I wanted to do, I can sort of do lower limb physio. And they sort of said, why don't you just do physio? And I thought, yeah, I'm really just copping out here. So I spoke to a few people and realized that if I went and did my master's in exercise sports science, strength and conditioning, that would help to get my GPA up so that I could then get into physio. And as soon as I heard that, it was just like something flicked inside me, and I dove headfirst straight into S&C, and I got into a course through Edith Cowan University in Perth, which is the Masters. So it's just a Masters of Exercise Science, in brackets strength and conditioning, and it's all online. So yeah, I started studying that, and honestly haven't looked back. Like, it was a complete, I guess, fork in the road for me. And starting that course has just been awesome, because as soon as I started studying, I thought, I'd had a heap of personal training experience, but personal training and S&C are actually a lot different in my mind. As far as, I guess there's a lot of elements to it, and, people might disagree with that, but so for me, I needed to get some more experience. So I started straight away just volunteering for teams, and it honestly has just gone from there, basically.
I feel like there's just levels to this industry, and that we're just forever students. And that's kind of something that you're alluding to, going, the more you learn, the more you realize that you don't know, and that you need to keep learning.
Yeah, absolutely.
I feel like that's something that, as I'm getting older as well, I'm coming to realize that is more and more true, and that we need to be more adaptable as practitioners to, I guess, the evidence that's coming out, and meeting that with client expectations, and just, I guess, changing trends in the industry to hopefully provide the best value for the people that we're working with. And I think that for you, and for me as well, it stems from a place that you just want to help people. Mm-hmm. You might not have said that explicitly or necessarily thought that explicitly, but really it just seems that you're a caring soul.
I've definitely thought that. No, absolutely. That's definitely a big drive. Like, when I was, back PTing, and you can help someone lose 20 kilos and change their life. Honestly, there's nothing better than that. Like, it's unbelievable. And physio, to a degree, is that, like, you can help someone get their life back. So it just allows me to see more people, I guess, on a bigger scale. So it's obviously, it's all going to come down to, in this industry, you've got to want to help people, for sure.
You got to want to, you're there to help people, and then everything else comes around that. So yeah, I mean, I feel like you've definitely got your heart in the right place, which is very, very reassuring. Can you, I guess, speak to the differences in your education between what it was like being on campus, or even on campus now, versus the online study, for those that kind of are one way or the other way, or trying to decide where to go and how to go about things?
Yeah. To be honest, I like, obviously online is different because you can do it from home, and on campus, you go on campus. There's pros and cons for both. I don't think, like, honestly, it doesn't matter, like, back, then and even now, it didn't matter what I had to do. Like, I was just going to do it. So I think for other people, if studying online is a reason for them not to do the study, they don't want to, they don't want the end result enough, I would say. So, for me, studying, whether it was online or on campus, it didn't matter. Studying online, though, you obviously have to be you do have to be disciplined, but then you can also not be disciplined, because you can get away with not doing it. And then you can cram at the end. So it's really a good means of, you can adapt it to your lifestyle perfectly. Like, I was able to work full time still while I studied online. So that was great. And it really suited that time in my life. Going to, uni now face to face has its challenges, for me more so, I guess, in a way, because I'm really bound to someone else's schedule. Not so much my own. And that's probably, for me, that's probably the hardest thing. But then being face to face, that obviously has its benefits of, being in the same room as your tutor or your lecturer, and being able to ask questions on the fly and get some one-on-one time. And, especially at Macquarie, the tutes are pretty small as far as the numbers. So you really get a good chance to learn. So
yeah, I think we were in a very rare space and a rare opportunity that we have provided to us there. I also feel those challenges in working off someone else's schedule, but I guess that's something that I just work into the week, and I know that you do too. Sort of, we work our life around those schedules that change every 6 months, and we just we make it work. There's no real question about it. That's pretty cool. I mean, when those takeaways I was talking about, one was forever learning, that we will be forever students, especially in this industry.
Yeah.
But the other one was, I guess, coming out of school at 18 with the pressure of going to uni and having to do that. That's generally where people are pushed into these days. If they're academically inclined, if they like what they're doing or not. A lot of people are sort of expected or feel that they're expected. They put the pressure more on themselves than anyone else telling them that they have to go to university. Feeling like they have to go to university to be of value or be doing something worthwhile. And then I guess that comes to that existential crisis of sort of, is time getting away from us in life, and am I wasting time, and how important is that for someone who is gone on that journey? How do you deal, I guess, with the idea of, look, yes, it might have taken me a bit longer to get to the same point, but it's worthwhile. And I hope that you realize that you are still a baby in this world. Really, like if we look at the average life expectancy for us, 84 odd years, 83 odd years.
I'm going to push for 100, but yeah.
Well, you and me both, but like I expect to start my bodybuilding career at the age of 50. But
I certainly haven't started mine, mate. That's for sure. Not yet.
Me either. But like, if we look at it from that perspective, like we're very young, and what we've achieved from 18, if you double that and you go to 36, you're still quite young. I mean, we're not at that stage yet, but I guess.
Yeah, no, actually, that played into a lot of my reasoning for deciding to go back to uni, because I remember realizing that I was still, I think I was, 23 or something. And I was sort of like, the last even just 2 or 3 years have felt massive. Like, I feel like I've done so much, but it's only been 3 years and I'm still only 23. So like, if I can do that much in 3 years, surely it's okay to take half a step back, get this study out of the way, and then jump back in and still have, another 40 or 50 years, you know what I mean? So, as far as, people feeling pressured to go to uni or that sort of thing. I mean, for me, I never felt pressured. I just don't think I ever considered the option of not going, which isn't good either. Because I probably could have really done with a year off, if I'm honest. Probably would have, in some ways, it probably would have, sped up the process, to be honest, having a year off. But in saying all that, I wouldn't really change anything, because my journey has sort of shaped from that.
Who you are.
As a product of who I am, and who I guess who I was. And not that who I was completely different either. I've just learnt to, there's a time and a place to have fun and a time and place to not, or to work, I guess. There's plenty of time, mate. And I guess if people, realize that they don't have to go 100 miles an hour all the time and achieve their life goals when they're in their early 20s, what's left to do after that? If you, I
do it all in the first quarter.
Exactly. I always wanted to find something that was sort of a life's work, and physio is like that, and it's never ending as far as the learning and those sorts of things, and the self-awareness and discovery and all of that. So, yeah.
Nice. And I guess on the same front, the fact that you are older, not being afraid to go back to uni, even though you've had a full-time job for the last few years, that's also a big step as well, to take that step out of the workforce.
Yeah, it was, mate. And it was not easy either. It was a massive change, but I'm very lucky. I have a very supportive wife, who has,
congratulations,
was my girlfriend at the time. And, it was tough, because I mentioned before, I was working with a few of my like closest mates, and it was so, if any, like it was just, I had so much fun at work, but for me, I just had to sort of look a bit more long term. And yeah, I think it just comes down to, if you want something, it sounds cliche, but like if you want something, you've just got to do whatever you've got to do. Like, and, you know, that's one thing with uni. I feel like, you know, and you may feel like this way yourself, like you just constantly jumping through hoops, you know, and sort of just doing whatever you need to do. It's this constant go. Where do you want me to jump through now? I'll do it. Just yeah. So, you know, and if you've got the drive to get there, you just got to suck it up. And for me, it was, yes, I am, you know, like I said, I think I was 23. Yes, I do have a full-time salary. You know, I've moved out of home, all these things, but I've got to make a change now. So yeah.
Talk about someone who's ticking off life goals before they finish their 20s. He's gotten married and moved out. It's full-time work. This guy. All right. You got a puppy yet?
I said, no puppies. No puppies.
It's coming. It's coming. All right. So before we sort of leave this little bit of the convo, what advice would you give to 17, 18-year-old Luke? Or another way to ask that question is, what advice would you give young people that are doing their HSC at the moment, thinking about the future? Doesn't necessarily have to be in the context of physiotherapy or health, but anything in general.
Yeah, big question. I would say, like, it's funny because, like I said before, I honestly wouldn't change anything that I've done, and I've made so many mistakes. So I guess it's hard to watch other people make mistakes. So you could tell someone to, you know, go uni, study hard, handle your assignments in on time. I dead set used to go to uni and not realize that we had an exam on that day. And like, that's the true story. Like, you know, and I'd tell people not to do that to start with. But I think you kind of got to find your own feet. And I guess don't be hard on yourself for, you know, making a decision that you later find out wasn't the best one. Like, I think that's sometimes, you know, someone might choose a particular path in life, and it's kind of like an interesting topic, but I guess sometimes you've got to know that it's okay to quit's a bad word, but it's okay to, you know, step back from your life and really evaluate it, and, you know, swallow your pride and go, I'm not liking this, or I need to make a change. And, you know, as long as you've got supportive people around you, don't be afraid to, I guess, take the jump and, you know, learn to fly on the way down, or however the saying goes.
That's it.
Yeah, that would probably be it in a nutshell. Just have a crack and follow whoever you want to be, whoever you want to be in the future. Kind of draw a line from where you are now to where that person is, and just go head first and do whatever you need to do to get there.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, a few things on that. I think, I guess, summarizing what you were saying there is the fact that if you make more mistakes more often, you're going to find what you're actually wanting, or you're going to get to the point that you want to get, or you're going to improve faster than those that are afraid to make those mistakes in the first place.
Fail well.
Yeah, fail well, fail fast, fail often.
Yeah.
And accept those failures and learn from them and grow and move on. But how would someone, I guess, get that clarity for where they want to go? Just sort of.
Cause I think you've just got to try things. You got to try everything. Like I put my hand up to so many things just out of curiosity to see, you know, what it's like, or would I be any good at it? And I think through just trying different things, you're going to find out what you like. That's actually one thing that's really been really good. I guess for me, being a uni student for so long now, I've been able to try so many different things because I've not necessarily been locked down to anything other than uni. A lot of things outside of uni, I've been able to just have a go at and see how they went and learn from, and see if they suited me. And yeah, I guess that's how you're only going to know if you try things. It's all very like cliche, but you know, it's true.
Yeah. 100%. I'm with you. Okay. So I guess we've kind of heard about your life story from school till now,
Mhm.
but we haven't really talked about your role as an S&C and what you're doing. And so did you want to give the company that you work for a bit of a plug here and tell us what goes on there and how you do things?
Yeah, so I'm currently working for a company called 4D Health and Performance. So their main clinic is in at the city. So that's where I'm at most days of the week. So they brought me on board to work as part of the strength and conditioning side of the company. So they have chiropractics, physiotherapy, exercise physiology, personal training, massage, and strength and conditioning. So sort of a really well-rounded company, I guess. So yeah, they have a high performance program, as we call it there. And that's sort of got a really good mixture of a whole host of different athletes of all different levels. So from, sort of junior level, essentially right up to Olympic level, which is awesome because you sort of get a bit of everything, a whole host of different sports, everything from, I guess, combat sports, heaps of track, a lot of sprinters, middle distance runners, a few field sports being like rugby union league, some court sports, tennis and basketball. So yeah, whole host of different athletes there. And my main role is I work alongside Dom Nasso. Shout out to Dom. He would have got upset if I didn't give him a shout out.
We'll tag him in the post.
So yeah, working alongside Dom, we basically operate that side. So we keep everything running as far as all the programming goes. How it works is all the athletes come in small groups and they train out their own program, and we sort of guide them through their program, session at a time. And then we run conditioning sessions throughout the week as well, which is, always a lot of fun. Always cop a bit of abuse from a lot of the athletes there, but it's always good fun. So I've been at 4D since only December last year. So it's gone pretty quick actually. But yeah, it's been really good. I've, made the jump across there, and it's challenged me a lot going there in a good way. It's really pushed me to grow as far as my S&C knowledge goes, my ability to program, actually helping someone through those programs. All of that has really been a really good learning curve over the last sort of, 9 months, I guess.
Really building on your skill set. Now, I can't remember if you've already told me this before, but is there a good story as to how you actually got the role at 4D?
Oh, it's not a great story. It was just I went to a day course actually at Athletes Authority. There was a course there run by Pat Lane, who's the strength coach for the Sydney Roosters. So I went there for that day. It was an awesome day, and I was there, and Dom was actually there at the time, and he was just chatting about how there was sort of, a role had opened up, and I guess my ears perked up, and I sort of had a chat to him about what that involved. This was after the day. I got in contact with him and sort of asked what it involved, and then he sort of explained what it was all about and said, "Why don't you come in and have a chat?" And so I did, and that's been that. So no, it was good. At the time, I thought that most of the work was going to be near my house, out in the hills, but it turned out that it was in the city. But it turns out I actually really like going into the city. It's good fun.
Nice, and you got the metro going out there now. Makes things a bit easier.
I love the metro. It's not bad. It's a bit slow, the old metro, but it gets me there.
At the moment, you got to wear a mask as you go out there, but that's all right. That's all right. How do you balance everything at the moment, mate? You've got a wife. You've just you've got this doctor of physio degree. You've got your job at 4D Performance.
Yeah.
How do you do it?
I also should give a bit of a shout. I actually work at St Andrew's Cathedral School as well.
Oh, yeah.
So I work in the gym there a few times a week, and they've got a really good team there, really good crew. So I do work over there as well. And like yourself, I'm doing some sports coverage on Saturdays and Sundays as well at the moment. So yeah, no, I guess balancing everything, that's been the art of being a uni student and for the last few years. And like I said before, I'll fall back to it every time. Laura, my wife, is extremely supportive and very, I guess, accepting. She's hardworking herself in her job, so I guess we kind of both just give each other time and space that we need to sort of do what needs to be done. But yeah, mate, I think as far as balancing things go, I like being, I don't know if busy is the right word, but I like having things to do all the time. I probably don't sit still for very long. So it's just something I've gotten used to and something I've learned to enjoy, I guess. Having lots of varied experiences throughout my week and things to do, it keeps it pretty interesting. So yeah, I've had to really improve my time management skills, that is for sure. And, I guess just be really upfront whenever I start working somewhere that, I do have uni and that is the priority. And they generally, everywhere I've worked has been really understanding of that and really helped to facilitate me through that. And, 4D have been great with that as well. They're like super understanding of uni commitments. And yeah, so I guess the balancing, it's not all me, like it's people, everyone I have around me sort of really helps me to do that, I guess. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely helps to have a good team. But I think you also talked to the fact that you had 3 years of learning how to talk to people and managing different personalities. So for anyone who hasn't met Luke, he's pretty easy to get along with. He'll talk about anything and everything. Talking shit is his number one sort of skill.
My passion, talking shit. And physio just allows me to do that.
That's it. It's like the hairdresser of the health industry, where you can have a conversation about life and actually get something done at the same time.
100%, mate.
So this fits you down to a T, and I can see that. Also helps you got a killer smile. But with you talking shit, can you explain what the Felolympics is?
The Felolympics. So yeah,
did I say it wrong? How do you say it?
Mate, you've added an extra syllable, but I'll let you get away with it.
Felolympics.
Felolympics.
Okay, right.
It's a bit of a mouthful, bit of a tongue twister. Mate, the Felolympics is something that myself and 5 of my mates came up with. A couple of years ago now. We were always, I guess, it actually started even longer than that. One of my other mates and myself were always sort of geeing each other up over who was better at certain things. And then one day I said, one of us said, let's actually put us to the test. So we had this one day and a bunch of our mates came down to a park and we spent like a few hours down there just doing like all these events, just the 2 of us. And I think we had an arm wrestle. We did like penalty shootouts. We sculled a beer, ran 400 meters, all this stuff. And I ended up losing, unfortunately. So it's, I've never really gotten over it, to be honest. But anyway, so we had that. And then years later, the same sort of thing was happening. And I guess me and my mates weren't playing sport at the time. So we sort of said, let's come up with this, I guess, Olympics for the fellas, hence the fellas Olympics, Felolympics. So we compete over just like a whole host of ridiculous events and get stuck into each other pretty hard. And I actually, in the first season last year, I've got to be honest, I came last. So look, it's been a driving force for my off-season training, that's for sure. And sitting in second at the moment, but it's very early days in this season because we had a bit of an injury with one of the Olympians. So, that set us all back waiting for him to get better. I think he was using it as an excuse, to be honest, to,
don't you just give him no points for that round?
Look, you'd think so, but the amount of whinging that gets thrown up in the group chat is too much to deal with sometimes. So
most athletic teams and sort of sporting competitions, if someone's out for injury, that's their problem.
The show must go on.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Can you, I guess, dive into how the actual competition works? Like, who chooses what sport, and how does it work, and how long does it go for you guys?
So we each get to put forward. I think it's so 4 events that no one can disagree with. So we can put them in, and basically they have no say in what they are. And then everyone puts forward a pet event. No, sorry, I've got that the wrong way around.
Okay.
Everyone
Yeah.
puts forward a pet event that no one can disagree with. So you can put forward whatever you want. So, like, for an example, one of my mates this year put in downhill snowboarding, and none of us have ever snowboarded except him. So, but we can't manage that. Whether it'll actually happen or not is another story. But so that's an example of a pet event. And then everyone can put forward, I think it was 4 or 5 miscellaneous events, and they have to get voted in. So there's 6 of us, and if you get 3 votes for them, that's good. You're on, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, and I guess the events, they vary far and wide. Like I said, we've got downhill snowboarding. I think there's like Madden on PlayStation. We're doing a beer mile. We've done.
How does that work?
So you've got to run a mile, and you drink a beer every lap. So 4 beers, if I'm not mistaken. So it's 400-meter track, and yeah, that should be interesting. We tend to try and get a bit of footage and throw it up on the Instagram page for a bit of a laugh. So
Shout out to them at
shout out to the Olympics.
Yeah, how do you spell that? FELLYMPICS.
Yes,
That's it.
Olympics. Yeah. So yeah, it's good fun. It's good fun. It's good excuse to sort of get together with my mates and just carry on and I guess put our average rigs to the test and relive our glory days. But
honestly, when you told me about this, I thought this is one of the best ideas I've ever heard. Because most people, they finish footy or like netball or soccer or whatever they're doing when they're kids at about the age of 15, 16. A lot of people never play sport again in their life.
Yeah, well, that was sort of the whole thing. None of us were playing sport. But when we all sort of, we enjoyed getting together, but every time we were catching up, it was always at a pub or, whatever, the sort of things that you do to catch up usually. So we sort of thought, wouldn't it be fun to, I guess, catch up in a way that was more, I don't know, conducive of a healthy lifestyle, I guess. If you can't drink
the beer mile,
running 4 laps, a healthy lifestyle. So yeah, it sort of came from that. It was sort of a chance for us to all get together and just have a laugh and do something a bit silly and have a good time. So we do that. We also play touch footy every Thursday, and we're all in that team. We actually have the Olympics emblem on our touch footy jersey. So we're making waves.
That's brilliant. That Olympics sort of the symbol, that F, it kind of reminds me of the Mean Fiddlers F. But anyway,
Mean Fiddlers. Wow.
No comment. That's kind of a local pub out your way, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, it is. It's more just the Fiddler now. I think they had to change the name from the Mean Fiddler. So.
Oh, right.
But
right.
I haven't been there very long.
What's gone on with the Olympics since COVID? So the last post I saw was that you're in second behind Dom. Is it the same Dom that you're working with?
No, different Dom.
Damn. Yes. So you're second, and what?
Yeah.
No competition.
No. Well, at the moment there hasn't been. No. Well, with COVID, we were trying to follow the rules. We actually did. When you were allowed to catch up at a park again, though, we played basketball. We did 3-on-3 basketball and 3-point shootout. My team got up, which was good news. But yeah, since then, no, one of my mates actually, he plays soccer every Saturday still, and he managed to tear his collateral ligament in his knee. So that sort of put us all back. So we've been waiting for him to find the courage to compete again. So
how did he do that? Because that's not a common one, to be honest.
No, playing soccer, and he just a contact injury, mate. So he just got hit from the side, and I don't know. I think he's getting old. His knees are getting weak, so it didn't take much.
You heard it here first. This is a public statement about one of the boys. Which one is it?
Joseph Fashka. You'll know he's the shortest one in the group by far. You'll be able to tell which one.
For those fans that go out and check out the Instagram page of these guys, they're always a good laugh. I'm keeping tabs on what they're up to, so no, it's pretty fun. I'm loving the material, mate. Keep that up. That's pretty cool. And you mentioned with touch footy. So I said at the start, sort of the intro, that you're a local hero touch football player. That's an inside joke between you and I and one other person, because we've got a mate in common. So although we met at university, we've got a mate by the name of Ben McMurray. Shout out to Benny.
Shout out to Benny.
He's a top bloke, and he referees with me in New South Wales.
Yeah.
But you and he play touch footy against each other.
We do, mate. We do. He's often on the losing end of the competition, which, sorry, Benny. I'm actually supposed to be playing him tonight, but I think it's been cancelled because of the rain yesterday. So he's lucky because I was feeling fast. Today. It's not often I feel fast anymore, but yeah. Anyway, it's all right. I'll get him next time.
You get him next time,
Yes.
Right? How good is local footy?
It's the best. It clearly, when blokes get older and don't have, anything else to compete in, touch footy becomes the most important thing ever. So
they're literally living their lifelong dreams through their local touch footy
100%.
comp.
We all could have made it.
Don't worry about sheep stations for the under sixes fellas. These guys are playing the big leagues.
Genuinely, it's sheep stations. It's
the poor referees.
pretty good sometimes.
Feeling sorry for those refs.
I don't at all. They're half big dude most of the time.
I don't even want to ask where you guys play.
Yeah, I won't go into that. I'll get kicked out of the comp.
No comment. no media rights there. That's good value. So with COVID and no Fel Olympics,
yeah.
What have you been doing?
Mate, well, what do you mean? As far as just my life outside of work and everything goes?
Well, yeah, outside of work and uni, for someone who can't sit still just like me, what have you been doing to keep yourself occupied?
Mate, just, I guess, training myself. You can probably tell I'm about to bust out of this t-shirt.
You got to stop buying extra big shirts, mate.
I know, this is an extra small. Jesus.
That's a lie, guys. That's a lie. That's definitely a large. And he should be a small to medium.
It probably is. No, mate. Yeah, just training. I moved house, so we were doing that. That was keeping me occupied for a fair bit. Yeah, touch footy is back on, so that's giving me a lot to do. But no, mate, work's pretty full on. So honestly, outside of that, and hanging out with Laura and family, and
you're actually spending time with them now, rather than just working and doing everything else.
Yeah. So no, it's good.
Good man.
Yeah, COVID's been pretty rough in a lot of ways, but I think in some ways it took everyone back to their roots a bit. Yeah, for sure. All right, and I guess this is the last bit of the conversation for today, so you can rest up, ready to take on Benny in the future. But I guess, what are your plans for the future? From where do you see yourself now to where do you see yourself going forward? I don't know, by the time we finish the degree to a couple of years down the track after that. Yeah, mate. Another good question. It's hard to say. I guess for me, I'd like to, in a lot of ways, continue doing what I'm doing now with physio, an added element to that. Obviously I want to work predominantly as a physio, and I need to dive headfirst into that when uni finishes so that I can keep learning. But I'd essentially like to maintain an S&C, I guess, presence in the industry. And from that, yeah, I'd love to work clinically. I'd love to stay involved with sport and I guess let that shape itself over the next few years and sort of see what comes from that, mate. So, but no, at the moment I feel like I'm really happy with where I'm at, in a good spot. So, just counting down the days to the middle of next year when we finish. finish uni, and yeah, I think things will take shape on their own. And my plan is just to keep approaching things the way I always have, and that's just to say yes to as much as I can, and
Don't do it until you drop a ball.
yeah, keep moving forward, and yeah, see what comes of it. I couldn't have, if you asked me that question 2 years ago, there is no way I would have said what I'm doing now. You know what I mean? So I've learnt that lesson before. Like, I've had the best laid plans and things change. So as long as I'm in it, as long as I am working with people, I'm around the gym, and I'm having a laugh and a good time, I'll be happy. So
yeah, that's pretty important. I mean, with the degree, you've got a pretty rare, pretty unique opportunity coming up. Did you just want to speak about that and sort of what's coming of that? Have you heard much from them?
No, I haven't. So I guess, as a few students have, with Macquarie, we all have to do placements, and we were all able to apply for some, not just sports internships, just internships in general. So I don't know how many applied for them, but yeah, so I applied for the GWS Giants internship for the 2021 season, which I was fortunate enough to get. So yeah, no, that's supposed to start next year, and that's going to run for essentially the whole season. So sort of up to 10 plus months or so, I think. And honestly, outside of that, I don't know a whole lot. So I essentially had the briefing session that we were all able to go to. I had the interview with them, and then from there, I haven't heard much, which is cool. Like, I'm happy, I'm fine with that, because I can only imagine at the moment being a part of a professional sporting organisation during COVID would just be pretty tough, I reckon, as far as, they don't even know sometimes who they're playing in a month's time. So they're certainly not thinking about their intern who's coming on next year, I would say, at this point.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm in a position with Parramatta referees and keeping them on track and making sure that they stay on the field through all this as well. Okay. So from someone in that position, in a much smaller position at a local level, we're having our own challenges, obviously with much more limited staff. But I think you're right in that you're not necessarily the first thought, and the first thought is to get all the players together and on the team and just playing again.
And that's fine, mate.
Figuring everything else out, but
I know my place in the pecking order. Nowhere near the top. So, but I'm cool with that. I'm happy with that. So.
I hope that you understand. I hope you understand how invaluable you are, though, as a student there for them. Definitely. You're a fresh face. You've got to bring fresh ideas, and for you as a person, I think they made a good choice in you as a person, in that they've got someone who is bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, and really wants to have a dig and impress and do a good job and get the most out of it. So I think they're going to get a lot out of you in that process as well.
Thanks, mate. Yeah, look, I hope so. I mean, for me, the biggest for me, if I can, get to the end of the season next year and I've learnt like as much as possible, I'll be stoked. So that's essentially what I'd love out of it. And I guess, the chance to experience a professional, not just team, but organisation for a whole season is something I honestly would not have dreamed of a few years ago. So it's, I'll be pinching myself next year. That's for sure.
That's awesome. Well, good luck with that. That's pretty special. I'm not getting any internships, so I'll be off to prac. Does that mean you're not on prac at the moment? Yeah, no, I'm not on prac at the moment. So I've had an extra 5 weeks to basically work, which has been really good. I'm not complaining about that. I'll tell you that much. Yeah, no, that's good. That's good. I'll make up for it. Well done. 100%, because I guess the payoff that you're taking there is that, yes, you do graduate in July, but you'll still have that requirement till the end of the GWS Giants season finishes. Correct. So it extends past the degree. So, but that's all right.
I'll suck it up. It'll be worth it. It'll be good fun. So
Definitely. All part of the process. Well, mate, thank you so much for coming on.
that's all right.
I've really enjoyed it. I enjoy your company. I enjoy talking to you and
You too, mate.
hearing what you have to say, mate.
I've been looking forward to coming on since you asked me in front of our whole shoot group last semester.
Not to put you on the spot, but yeah. Oh, actually, there was something that I was going to ask.
Go for it, mate.
I know that at 4D,
Mhm.
you guys have this Alter G, which is an anti-gravity treadmill. It's something that I've never been able to get my hands on and use.
Yep.
As someone that's been exposed to it, sort of, can you explain one, what it is and how would you use it and sort of how you guys use it at 4D?
Yeah. So my first experience with an Alter G was when I was recovering from ACL surgery myself.
Let's dive into that first.
Oh, mate, geez, if you got it, that'll take another hour. People have had enough. They don't want to hear from me anymore.
Is it 2 or 3 surgeries?
Three surgeries, yeah, to fix 2 ACLs essentially, but 3 complete rehabs and everything. Yeah, like I said, it's a story and a half. I'll write a book on it for you, and then you can read about it.
I'll get you back on once you've finished your book, mate. We can do a publicity sort of press release.
Yeah, no, I can't wait. So yeah, no, so essentially you hop on. It looks like a normal treadmill, but it's kind of got like this big space suit type thing. So you wear what essentially like wetsuit type shorts. You zip yourself into this big plastic bubble that wraps around you and joins the shorts. So it's airtight. And then essentially the plastic from sort of here down all fills up with air. And you can set, so the treadmill will weigh you. And then you can set, I guess as a percentage, how much of your own body weight you want to load through your legs. And then you can either walk or run, and and then it's just sort of acts like a regular treadmill, just the fact that you're not running with your entire body weight on there. So yeah, it gets used a lot at 4D actually, which is pretty cool. So you get people come in who are just really regular and sort of, competitive runners or training for events, and as part of their training, they don't want to get the full load of, I guess, running as you do with running constantly. So they will, one of their sessions a week will be on the Alter G treadmill because it just takes a bit of load out of their legs and they can recover well from it. So some people use it in that regard. Other times, sometimes the athletes are coming back from injury or from surgery. So for us, it's sort of, we can offer for them to come in and use it and sort of start their return to running, I guess, rehab maybe a little bit earlier than you would if you were full weight bearing. If you were having to wait for full weight bearing. It gets used quite a bit. They're pretty cool, that's for sure.
You alluding to yourself there when you said athletes get to come in after surgery.
I would definitely not allude to myself as an athlete, that is for sure. Those who, I remember in the movie School of Rock, one of the best movies, he said, those who can't do, teach. And that is me. That is certainly me. So no, actual athletes, people who are good at sport.
Right. Well done, mate. That's awesome.
Thanks.
Now, if anyone wanted to get in touch with you and wanted to hire you as their S&C or their future physio, where do they go and how do they get in contact with you?
Mate, they can, at the moment, they can either call up 4D or they can get on, I guess I'm on Instagram. My posts are a little bit irregular, but I'm always there for a bit of a chat and banter if anyone wants to slide into my DMs. I've never said that before.
Wow.
There you go. Slide on in, guys. My Instagram is just luke.esposito with an underscore. If you can spell my last name, I'll give you extra points for that. So.
Do you want to spell it for them so they don't follow someone down in South America?
Yeah, they'll end up following one of my 100 cousins that I have. Esposito, Esposito. There you go. Not to be confused with Justin Bieber's smash hit Esposito.
Right. It's just a D in front of it, isn't it?
Correct, pretty much.
Right. Yeah. Big difference. How often you're going to cop it for this little part at the end from some of your mates, eh?
Oh, probably.
100%.
Copped that Esposito line.
Your whole life. Yeah.
Well, since it came out, yeah.
Well, yeah. Again, mate, thank you so much. You're awesome.
Thanks, mate.
Appreciate it, mate. Not a problem. And everyone else, take care. Love you guys.
Thanks, mate. See you soon.